Hello, listeners. As you may know, we had a poll recently.
We sure did.
Of who pitched Sonic, and
I totally forgot about this until you just.
I did too.
Well, this is unfortunate for both of you because we made an agreement that if the audience was wrong, we would ask the selected hosts to leave the show. And well, audience, Alex and Jake tied with one another, and neither of them picked Sonic. So unfortunate, boys, but this is the moment.
Yeah.
I have to ask the two of you to leave the podcast. If you agree, I am prepared to go on with this episode alone. And the whole show.
You know what? I agree. I want to see you fucking do it.
I am tempted to also agree just to see Matt do this whole episode all on his own. I want to see you carry
this shit on your fucking back.
It'll just be an hour long of Matt thinking to himself, and you'll occasionally hear like, ah. And at the end, he'll just be like, these are the movies that move on.
I loved that poll because I kept checking it like intermittently, and it was just like, Alex, Jake, Alex, you had like 0 votes. I voted for you once just to give a extra.
I voted for myself as well. So half of my votes were hosts of this show. With that, hello again. Welcome back. We're the Tough Cut Podcast. I'm Matthew. I pitched Sonic.
I'm Alex. That was a bad time for me to take a sip of my drink.
And I'm Jake, and I have none of those problems.
That's beautiful. Well, this is episode 17?
16. It's our Sweet 16 MTV. Shout out.
Oh, it's our Sweet 16, guys.
Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Perfect time to have part 3 of our Oscar season bracket.
Anyone want to buy me a car? I need one. Isn't that what people do for Sweet 16s?
So what do we have coming at us today? I can do it. We've got Borat subsequent movie film versus Palm Springs in the first half of the episode here. And then in the second half of the episode, we've got the matchup of maybe the century, Another Round versus Sonic.
I'm so excited.
Two heavy hitters.
A movie about getting belligerently drunk and a movie that I watched belligerently drunk. What a matchup.
And guess which one's which? The answer may shock you. Yeah. If you guys didn't know, this is Oscars season. We are, if you made it to the semifinals, we're talking about films. We want to win Best Picture for our Oscars, the better Oscars. Little spoiler warning, we will be spoiling these films and maybe others, so keep an eye out for that. And also a content warning for Another Round, for some like alcoholism, and for Borat for just, it's a heavy satire film. There are some sexual situations that are very uncomfortable, some very like intense political messaging and all that stuff. So just keep an eye out for all that.
Yeah.
And you guys said all the things, so I'm just here.
Cool. Shall we hop right into this first matchup?
Dude, James Marsden lives in my mind rent free. Rent fucking free.
Until we get him on the show every single time, or we pitch Hop for a bracket. We should get him on the show when we have Hop in the bracket to make him watch it for the first time.
We should do a bracket where we invite James Marsden as a special guest, and it's the Hop bracket, and we pick our top 8 moments in the Hop movie.
He was in Hop, right?
I really
think
hope so.
We've been saying he is for a long time.
Because you making the joke or comment, I guess, that he would be watching it for the first time was just really, it blew my. I was like, wait, is he in the movie? And then I was like,
yeah,
wow.
He is in Hop. He is in Hop. Yeah, I was so commenting on the quality of the film.
Wow, that's a cool looking bunny with his open plaid shirt.
That's a decade years old.
Why are we talking about Hop?
Because we're hopping into the bracket. All right, so Borat, subsequent movie film.
Wow, Russell Brand was in Hop too.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't surprise me.
He fucking...
And Hank Azaria, what? Wild. David Hasselhoff played himself in Hop? This is crazy. Okay.
He's just been playing himself, but yeah.
Borat, subsequent movie film. Obviously released 2020, directed by Jason Wolner. You know it, you love it. Borat, at pain of death, has to give a gift to one of the members of Trump's inner circle. That gift ends up being his daughter. The mockumentary lampoons American culture, their COVID response, and most of all, their politics. Yeah, that's Borat.
And Borat is going up against Palm Springs, directed by Max Barbakow, released also in 2020. It's time loop time, baby. You've got philosophical views of reality. You've got Andy Samberg taking it in the butt, and it's an all-around good time.
You should have just said that when you first introduced Palm Springs. Like, I don't know why you didn't just lead with that.
I should have. That really, yeah.
All the most important pieces of it.
Yeah, you really get the whole essence of the film.
Essence. Okay. Borat versus Palm Springs. I'll still be honest, I still have a lot of reservations about Borat, and I'm hoping to like kind of tackle those and see like how I can, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
start us off. Go
Hit us
for it.
with some.
I just feel like I go back to it and I keep going back to it, and I'm just like, man, it's really out of place. They're like scripted shit. And from such a film like Palm Springs, where like I genuinely, like, I said this when we were talking about it before, but I love the writing of that movie. I thought it was so like genuine, where this one just, it feels like so like hammered in. And especially going back, I watched some scenes of Borat 2 that I really remembered loving. Oh God, what was the exact one? I mean, they did a lot, but like the whole like, they're eating babies and like conspiracy theories, and then just be like, yeah, that isn't the COVID's a conspiracy theory, rather than let Hillary eats the blood of children. Hilarious.
Yeah.
Or like the fucking the debutante ball. Wow. Like those kind of moments are really like amazing and what make Borat like really cool. But the other parts where they're just like hammering in scenes of them being scripted, it just feels weird, I think, having them be scripted. I think that's my issue. And I don't know how to detach myself from it, but I'm willing to learn.
Yeah. So I know we talked about this a little bit in the first episode. How do you, because I know like the second Borat here definitely has more scripted scenes. I guess I don't know that for sure, but it feels like it does. Compared to the first one. And I know that's something you kind of alluded to, that you felt the first one was so much more exclusively improv, but it also has like a handful of scripted screen scenes between obviously primarily Borat and then the director character. I don't know if that's actually what they refer to him as.
Like a producer, right?
Yeah, his producer. Yes. Azamat. Do those feel less scripted? Like, I know that is that why it's off-putting? Is these feel less organic?
You know what it is, and I think I'd literally just reached this realization. And it feels like in comparison with these films. I just wish they didn't heavy-hand some stuff, but it also is probably because that the world has felt so heavy-handed lately, especially with like those topics that they're doing. And while I was watching Palm Springs, I remember also feeling like, I think Matthew alluded to this, why it resonated with you. Like it's also felt like we were in a fucking time loop and we were just like living out the thing. And it's just like, that's also heavy handed, but I felt like they did it in such an organic way where Borat felt like so choppy, but maybe it's just a sign of the times. And maybe it's just, there was no way for tackling something like this, something that had to switch its ending that we'll never know of. Right. Because I don't know, it just
something that you saying that kind of made me think of, and I do think that this is like a direct result of living in a post first Borat world. Is like, obviously this is still super impressive to see done again in a second movie, but I think we see a lot more adjacent material to the first Borat now, like there, especially especially relative directly to like American politics. Like there are a lot of those political talk showy type things that are specifically geared towards, I can't remember what his name is.
James Marsden.
Yes, thank you. Where basically like he went to all like the Trump events and like just interviewed people and had them walk into
that guy from the Daily Show, Jake Tapper.
Yes, I think so.
Yes.
Something like that. Like
he's great.
The world has so many more of those like real life interactive moments like that now, that like maybe that takes away some of the magic.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, because it wasn't subverting anymore.
Yeah, because it's not as original of a concept as it was when the first Borat came out. I think that's fair. I also think to Borat subsequent movie films credit, they do the whole like as soon as the movie starts.
Wow, you really said the whole title. I'm very happy for you. I've been just saying Borat too.
Not the entire title. Borat subsequent movie film, deliver of the prejudiced bride to American regime for make benefit of once glorious nation of Kazakhstan. Come on.
Yeah,
wow,
we should do that.
He
from now
really
on.
said
Guys,
the whole movie title. I'm proud of you, Matthew.
Let's respect. Eddie had it memorized. He was not looking at a screen, guys. He had that shit memorized. Did you know Palm Springs' real name is Arnold Palmer Springsteen?
Wow, I had no idea.
Anyway, that was my best joke of the evening. You guys.
That's our joke of the evening, folks.
But what I did want to say about Borat 2, when it first opens, underneath the title, you hear him go, Borat 2, very nice, my wife, big success. And it like opens with all of those like famous lines to just like get them out of the way. So that way it can be like, yeah, this is Borat 2, but it's not just going to be the same movie again, you know, which I really like commend them on. Like Sacha Baron Cohen came into this movie like wanting to make it with a purpose and not just like make a second Borat, you know? Although I do agree with Jake that while I think the scripted scenes were necessary to have it, you know, make sense and to have it work, I think they aren't as effective as the scripted scenes with the producer are in the first movie.
And when comparing these two, I think the reason why like it's standing out to me is because I felt like Palm Springs really subverted like the whole time loop genre in a really fun way.
Yes.
You know? And that's the comparison that like I feel like Borat 2 didn't really subvert, like it made a point and it was a point film. So like, I don't know, but what do you think, Matthew?
So this is one of the topics I most wanted to talk about with these two films, is how they exist within their mediums, or I guess within maybe genres, maybe a better word. I'm not exactly sure. I 100% agree with you. I think that Palm Springs is built as a deconstruction of the time loop.
Yeah.
It is very much supposed to like take this idea that's sort of come back into prominence with things like Happy Death Day in recent history and subvert that through this lens of what is almost like, hey, like what actually would happen to people being stuck in a time loop for this tremendous amount of time, like the nihilism that comes from it, the like forgetfulness of like Niles of what his original life was like the experience of being dragged into it, how the movie is originally framed from Sarah's point of view. So we get to see Niles like already many time loops in, like living his way through the night.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a fantastic deconstruction of the time loop versus Borat existing generally in the territory of mockumentary.
Yeah.
I love Borat 2. I love the first Borat. I love, you know, political critique is so important to me.
Absolutely.
But I think as a mockumentary, it does so much less with the fact that it's a mockumentary. Like the first Borat, I feel like make intentional nods to and play with that concept by like the people filming it are a physical presence in the film. And I think it's an interesting exclusion for, you know, for something to exist as a mockumentary and then not
play with the fact that it's a mockumentary.
That totally wasn't why he wanted to make it, you know? Why would he make Borat 2? He did it because it was convenient for like doing a message, which I mean, it was great. Like it succeeded at that. But I think because of that, it lost a lot of points for innovation. That's like really like unfortunate for me. And I can't fully appreciate it as much as something like Palm Springs that came out of fucking nowhere.
There's an innovation in Palm Springs that I want to talk about because every time loop media, anything where it's like a time loop, the biggest moment in most time loop stories is the like waking up in the time loop, right? The like, oh, what's the song that plays on the radio? Like,
you also saw Happy Death Day. I fuck with Happy Death Day.
I have never seen Happy Death Day.
I think that speaks to Alex's point that Happy Death Day is so ingrained in what makes a time loop that him just generally explaining a time loop, you go, oh yeah, it's definitely that.
I've never seen that movie.
I'm also just a big fan of Happy Death Day. No, shut up, Alex. It's a Happy Death Day.
Will it'll probably end up on the show.
Death Day podcast.
Oh, it's a guilty pleasure of mine.
The way that Palm Springs twists the waking up in the morning like scene and how Niles is already so done and so tired, and he has that whole thing memorized. Like, he can't even finish because he's so bored with waking up. It's just such a sad waking up for him. And then you see Sarah, and you slowly discover why waking up in this day is so torturous for her. Like, the realization, it's so beautifully done, and it's so poetic the way that it like adds depth to being stuck in the same day, because it's not just like, oh, I'm living the same day over and over again. It's, I'm living the day that my sister is marrying the guy that I slept with last night today. Like, what a like cruel day to be trapped in. It's so good. It's so deep in such an interesting way.
And for them not to even be like, for her not to even be like the main, like, that's not even like, you know, Andy Samberg is like the main, and then she joins, like, for that to be like a really crucial, like, that is her day and she's dragged into it. Like, it's not the whole like Groundhog Day, like, oh, my life is terrible, let's make it better, like, let me gain a lesson about life kind of a thing. And it's so fucking fun. Their fun in games is like, they have fun in games, man.
The way that the movie handles her day is so well done, because the audience sees it from Niles' perspective. When she has the day where she's like, I need to do my good deed and that'll get me out of the time loop. And she tells her sister that she slept with whatever the guy's name was. He plays Superman. I'm going to call him
James
Superman.
Marsden.
When she tells her sister that she slept with James Marsden's Superman, and you see it from Niles' perspective. So you just see her whispering in his ear, in her ear. Oh, it's so good.
They so intentionally decide how, like, whose scenes are going to be framed from the perspective of, to aid in the filmmaking of everything, to aid in the entire experience. And again, I think by contrast that Borat has this mockumentary angle, and they never, I don't think they put a ton of effort into considering how they are framing something. And like the thing, it's just always like, oh, we want to show Borat talking to this person, and that, like, and goading them into saying something ridiculous that, you know, it's like, I understand there's obviously different purposive things going on of like, they want to get the entire reaction. Like, that's the most important piece. I just think that you could do more, because I think the first film has more of that. And that's one of the things I think is missed.
I completely agree.
Considering the full package of the mockumentary angle.
I completely agree, but I do want to throw credit to Sacha Baron Cohen, because like, he still had to craft the hell out of this. There's still very, like, as far as comparing these films and like how to craft this story, like, you have to craft things really interestingly to make a time loop story fresh, especially the way they did. But like with Borat, they had to craft the hell, and how they had to adapt, like we talked about before, like with COVID and all that stuff. Like, it's very well crafted.
I have to wonder if they're going at it from like, if Borat was going at it from a perspective of like, oh, the first Borat, like, was them learning to make a documentary, so now they know how to make a documentary, so there aren't the scenes of him arguing with the producer. Because that's now so there's like, I don't remember if the first Borat have as much of the
James Marsden
narration overhead? I'm sure it did. But was it like the same level and amount of it?
I don't recall there being as much, but I think that the case is that they have more premise to set up in the second film. The advanced premise of, we're going to give a gift to someone in Trump's inner circle to like gain, you know, respect from them, from the world's dictators, essentially, is the through line. And they don't have to set that up in the first Borat. The first one's just like, we're going to America for cultural teachings. To teach them about Kazakhstan. And then
they had a more open.
But I do think, to the credit of Sacha Baron Cohen, is just truly so talented. Actually, both Sacha Baron Cohen and Maria
Bakalova
are so talented.
I still can't, like,
there is so like a magnetism to those performances of like, at least personally, I so desperately want to look away at the supreme cringe. Like the debutante ball.
Oh my God.
Just the concept of a debutante ball already like makes my skin crawl. And I so badly just want to skip as soon as I just like want to skip as soon as they start talking to people. And like,
the talking to people though. It's not like, and that's what's so good about it. It's not like the whole mating dance or whatever. It's like the whole, like, that creepy dad was like, how much do you want for her? And then like the daughter going like, ew, you're gross, but then still It's gross. It's gross. It's so gross.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Or just because the grossness of that, the dad just reminded me of when they're talking about getting breast augmentation done.
Oh God, the doctor.
They goad the doctor into. She goes, like they're like talking about her attractiveness, and he's like, no, like you're a very pretty girl, and she goes, well, would you make a sex attack on me? And the doctor legitimately says, if your father wasn't here, maybe. And they laugh about it. And I'm like,
and they laugh
oh my God.
That's so
like,
bad.
How awful. And imagine
It's
being
so
that
bad.
actress, like being there and like how that, like, it's just fucking gross. And like, because I've had this question before, but like, how does that doctor, like, when this film comes out,
you sue?
One, how does he, well, he sues, but like, how does he still have a life? You know, like, does he still practice?
I don't know. That's one thing. The first Borat, the Wikipedia page, I recommend anybody go read the section on the lawsuits they accumulated.
Matthew just recommended people to read. Nerd.
Because Borat 2, unfortunately, I'm sure it's because the lawsuits haven't panned out yet, had such a wealth. It like the first one has such a wealth of information on people that sued and like their reactions. It's insane.
I bet working on the legal department, like post-production team, is a nightmare for those films.
Yeah, it's incredible. And I'm sure like so many of the people from this second film they're like probably ongoing lawsuits right now. Mm-hmm. And they're probably, they're going to lose. Like
Tom Hanks definitely sued, right?
Yeah.
Amazing. I think I'm ready, guys. I don't know about y'all.
I think I am.
I could vote.
I could vote. I'll throw a little Votron.
I'm voting for Palm Springs.
I read that. So like, again, we write down our answers. And I read that as tings. I just saw the tings and I was like, what do you mean by that? Why are you doing a Rihanna?
For the tings.
I'm voting for the tings.
That's my nickname for the movie Ghost Rider 2, Spirit of Vengeance.
It's coming back,
moving
baby.
on. Going to the finals.
Out of left field, Nicolas Cage arrives again.
Get ready for the big ride.
Take cover, child.
Is the big ride his motorcycle?
The big ride's whatever you want it to be, baby.
The big ride is his funeral pyramid.
Oh my God.
In New Orleans.
That's right. I forgot about that.
They're actually they're charging people to go into that cemetery because of his pyramid.
Really?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So when they go like
family tried to
visit grandpa, like
there are people with like loved ones buried in that cemetery, and it's like owned by a private person, I guess.
Is it owned by Nick Cage? Please say it's not so.
No,
I don't think it is.
I doubt he does.
But like the whole cemetery, they're like charging people, and they weren't letting people go in. And this was before COVID, so it's not a COVID thing.
Huh?
Yeah, isn't that wild?
I
just want to go see the guy's pyramid. Come on.
I saw it. I have photos of it, but I
didn't.
Yeah.
Can I see them? I didn't get to see the pyramid.
Yeah, can we see them? Oh my God, you're doing it right now. Anyway, I'm also voting for Palm Springs.
And I'll send the photos in our group chat later. Who am I voting for? My vote doesn't matter at this point.
Your vote matters to me, babe.
But I'm also voting for Palm Springs. That deconstruction, baby. I gotta love it. I think as a best picture contender.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I love what Sasha did, but deconstruction, baby. We love it.
That's interesting. Because I feel like, Palm Springs was unanimous, and I feel like the next one's going to be unanimous because we got Sonic in the second round.
That's a tough one to beat. The Academy tried to beat Sonic the Hedgehog. They tried to block it from award shows. And here we are, perhaps the second most prestigious award show for the film industry, the Tough Cut Podcast. Who the first is? I'll never tell.
I'll never tell.
Oh, I thought you were going to make a joke, Jake. All right, well, I'll talk about Sonic.
I was, but then I forgot the name of it. I was going to say the Razzies, and then I forgot the fucking name, but whatever. Again, that's my second best joke of the evening. Swinging batted 1,000 here tonight, gentlemen.
And Sonic is basically a baseball movie.
It's true. I love a good sports movie, and Sonic is that.
Yeah.
It's got so many genres. It's so
Sonic
deep.
the Hedgehog. You know it. You, audience, hopefully love it. You probably don't. Follows that speedy
follows
blue hedgehog
God as he said,
as he wreaks havoc upon the world in his never-ending fight with Dr. Eggman. Follows Sonic, the speedy blue hedgehog himself, and his new best friend, played by the Tough Cut Podcast's third favorite person in the movie industry, James Marsden.
Who's our second? I know our first is Gore Verbinski, but who's our second favorite person in the movie industry? I guess Nicolas Cage.
Please.
It could be Nicolas Cage.
Was that?
Yeah, it could
Was
be
that not what you were
Cage.
thinking?
I don't know where that joke was going when I said it.
But you knew it was going to end up with Gore Verbinski, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's accepted number one. And James Marsden, they go on an adventure to San Francisco.
This is one of your least clean ones, I'll say it.
Well, because I didn't want to just repeat what I said last time. I wanted to make it a little more snappy.
Yeah,
but then we started making jokes halfway through. So that's what you get. They go to San Francisco, okay? And Jim Carrey ends up on a planet full of mushrooms. Spoilers. And Tails shows up at the end.
Whoa. Now you're dropping the real spoilers,
big
man.
Spoiler.
Yeah, all right, Jake. Pitch your movie. Pitch your Oscar bait. Get out of here.
Oscar bait. Get the fuck out of here. Another Round by Thomas Vinterberg. It's,
Sonic, directed by Jeff Fowler, released in 2020.
Jesus, you don't even respect this.
I'm a mess.
Hey, they call it a hot mess for a reason, babe. All right.
I am the... Go ahead. I'm going to shut up.
You say it. Say it. Say it out loud. Say it.
Just to see how it feels. Vampire. Say it. Say it. I know what you are.
A himbo. We need an edit of that movie fucking pronto.
I'll do it. Put some fucking in. I'll do it.
Please do that, man.
Well, Sonic is going up against Another Round by Thomas Vinterberg. It's, for teachers who decide to consume a shit ton of alcohol for educational purposes to see how it affects their social and professional lives. And they have way more at stake, than we initially think. It's a really fucking fun film. Now, unless you guys have a comparisons that you like for sure want to make right away, I have like a really interesting one.
How meta is it?
It's pretty. Why do you bring that up, Matthew?
I'm just curious. We don't plan the entire show or anything. Dumb audience. Come on.
Oh my god, no.
Matt's the mean host tonight.
He's the mean host tonight.
Look, I don't have enough stands in my calling me out on Twitter yet, so yeah, I'm getting mean with you guys.
Oh my god, you're gonna get so many like, oh, be mean to me, Matthew, on Twitter. You're gonna get stands this way.
Good.
But anyway,
will the stands have been worth it, Matt? Will they have been worth it?
I'm gonna make a burner account that just fucking bullies you over and over. So, okay, with these two films, they actually like mean a lot to me, I've realized, especially in the past year. They're probably like the two films that have meant the most to me in this like whole like our pitching. And I'll tell you guys why. Both Matthew and Alex both tilted their heads almost 90 fucking degrees to the side.
Like, I get Another Round.
Oh, I get Sonic.
See, exactly.
Interesting.
That's pretty fucking, that's great. Look, I think for both of these, one of these was, we saw Sonic. We had talked about it so much. We're like, oh my God, we're going to go see Sonic theaters, whatever. And then we saw it and we did like drinking and we celebrated. Like, we drank a decent amount, if you guys don't realize it by now, in college, as one does. And
hey, they don't need to know we were in college when we saw Sonic. Get the fuck out of here, audience.
Oh yeah, yeah. Fuck you, audience. You'll never be able to guess our age.
They can track me down. My Twitter's linked in the fucking bio. It's bullshit. I can't escape you people.
Wow, you really are doubling down on hating our fans. But no, like we had a fucking great time, and then like afterwards, COVID hit, right? And it was like one of the last like things that we did involving like alcohol. We're like celebrating, having a good time. And I remember it so fondly. Like it was such an innocent, like lovely time. And in comparison, when I saw like Another Round, it just also hits so hard. And it's this like, if I didn't move back to New Orleans like I recently did, like, and during those months, like I really felt for Martin, like the stagnation of everything, like as juxtaposed, we were in peak joke fashion with Sonic, but this, like, it took us for a long ride. It talked about New Orleans in the fucking movie. Like, it's this destigmatization of drinking culture, but also the nostalgia of it in a way, because they talk about like the nostalgia with him being young and them drinking all stuff, and they talk about the dangers and all that. It just like both of these really reminded me of how crucial like my life is like right now with the stagnation of everything, but in completely different ways and like a nostalgia point. And I felt like, we like us three like have a similar like path with it, right? Because we all saw Sonic as this big joke, whatever, Sonic Speed, all this stuff, but it was still one of the like the last movie we saw in theaters in 2020.
Yeah.
And then seeing this film, I'm just like, oh my God, like that felt like us. It felt like us, like that movie, those teachers felt like us 60 years from now when we're trying to look back on the time we drank Sonic Speed. And we're like, yeah, we could do that again.
60 years from now? How old do you think those people are?
I'm 2 years old.
Citizens
Jake,
arrest.
I totally get what you're saying. Seeing Sonic before the pandemic and then watching Sonic again. Sonic's a drug, guys. Sonic gets me going. I can't help it. I can't help the way that I feel when I watch Sonic, and I'm never going to stop. I'm never going to stop watching Sonic, and I don't care who I become when I watch that little blue hedgehog run around really fast and get sad hitting the baseballs.
Wait, you keep talking about the stagnation, Jake.
Yeah.
What if this is going to sound crazy? What if we watched Sonic? So there was I think it was Aristotle. He said that the human blood Sonic content was one viewing. We were born one viewing too low. What if we watched Sonic every day for a year? And we do this for academic purposes. We're going to write a paper on it and see how it affects our social and professional lives.
What would happen for educational purpose? I would find out my wife is cheating on me. That's what would happen if I watched Sonic.
And one of your good friends would die.
Yeah. So that's pretty fucking sad, and we never talked about it. But something I want to say, like in relation to kind of your sad baseball thing, Alex, dude, why haven't we talked about Specs in another round?
Yeah,
that motherfucker broke my first note. Like my first note was like, I felt so bad for Specs, and like that was so well done because like I was that kid, like like I didn't get the water, and then it kept going. I was like, wait, no. And then at the end, when the gym teacher like died, my first thought was, what's gonna happen to Specs? Ugh. And I literally said, fucking damn it. And I just like, I got so sad.
Tommy being drunk coaching the Little League team was so funny. He was such a funny drunk coach.
Of course they made one of them a coach. I was so happy they did that. Like that was such a good like adding.
Because gym teachers are teachers.
Yeah, that's so fucking great.
Yeah.
But no, I mean that's how I feel like about these like two films, and I'm trying to like think of like which one, I'm this nostalgia of like togetherness and whatever. And I see. Do you guys think we can outdrink them? Sonic, I mean,
I certainly cannot right now in my life. I know that I can't.
Peak us, right?
If you took my peak alcohol tolerance, that's a thing to behold. I mean, we could put back some stuff.
I think we can outdrink them.
I don't know. They were doing liquor, and I never really was good with liquor. Like I drank it, but it was never my jam. I was a beer guy.
Yeah.
Or a malt wine. Do you think Sonic could outdrink them?
He's
do you think
a child.
Sonic and James Marsden?
Yeah, but do you think his speed would affect his metabolism?
Interesting.
Yeah, how many drinks would it take to get Sonic drunk?
So I don't think he weighs very much.
Yeah.
So I think that would affect it.
Yeah.
So if we had a team of Sonic and James Marsden, and I don't mean his character he played, I mean actual James Marsden.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, wait, new concept. James Marsden plus all of the animal buddy movies he's been in. So he gets Sonic, he gets
Hop. Is that the name of the titular character?
I think he was Hop. He was whatever O'Hare.
He was fucking Hop.
I think he was Hop.
Nah. Oh yeah, Fred O'Hare. Huh.
Okay, so it's James Marsden, it's Sonic, it's Frank O'Hare, Fred O'Hare.
Katherine Heigl from 27 Dresses. It's
let's see what else we got. Oh,
fucking Amy Adams.
Amy Adams from Ella Enchanted.
What a squad!
It's just Enchanted, right? Not Ella Enchanted.
Oh yeah, I think that's
Ella Enchanted, the Anne Hathaway thing.
Yeah,
I, as
100%.
a child, Enchanted, Ella Enchanted. My brain is too similar.
And Christopher Walken can be there, and John Travolta because he was in Hairspray.
I thought you were just gonna invite him. I thought you were just gonna be like, Christopher Walken
can just be there.
Do you remember that night of drinking where I was forced to do a Christopher Walken impression for the rest of the night, and it was fucking awful, and I was the worst one at it?
Lost some, and then you gave up so eady. You lost.
I gave up because I kept drinking. Playing. I had to go to the point of oblivion. Come on, guys.
There was something I wanted to say like 10 minutes ago, and I can literally no longer remember what it was.
Guys, I just learned something cursed about James Marsden.
What?
James Marsden was in Boss Baby.
Wait, what?
Shut the fuck up.
James Marsden was in Boss Baby.
No.
We literally can't escape anything that comes up on this show. I guess it's because Hollywood only has so many big name actors, but it will inevitably come back up. Who was he in Boss Baby?
I don't know. His character isn't listed.
Wait, what?
I'm on Google right now.
Did he
and
just
it says
roll
cast,
up on
and says Alec Baldwin played the Boss Baby. Lisa Kudrow was mom. Tom McGrath, TV chef. Jimmy Kimmel was dad. And then just says James Marsden, but it doesn't have a role listed with him.
I'll only be like, all right, that's fine if he showed up as himself. If he played a character, I've lost a little bit of respect for James Marsden.
Actually, you've never seen the movie, Jake. It's one of the best scenes in cinema. It's like a Who Framed Roger Rabbit situation of the whole movie is animated, and then they have James Marsden show up in the world of Boss Baby.
How dare you talk about one of my favorite movies in relation to Boss Baby? How fucking
Wait, Jake, have you never seen Boss Baby?
I refuse.
Jake, I'm going to put it in a bracket just to have another movie that you've never seen in a bracket.
Did you like Boss Baby? Stop it.
No? Who liked Boss Baby?
The Academy? Fucking assholes.
Yeah, it almost won an Oscar.
God.
Anyway, these movies. No. Something more important. Something in Sonic.
Oh my God, wait, Matthew, you never told us the hint about COVID, right?
That's what I'm about to get to. There's a moment in Sonic that proves so much about what this movie was made for. Borat jokes that it invented COVID. Sonic, it gives you the breadcrumbs so you can sniff your little mousy nose right to the prize. So let's think about this for a moment. Oscar contention rules, as they are normally, a movie has to have a release in theaters.
Yes.
Okay? It's in the rules. Sonic comes out just before the whole world goes into lockdown. That's a little bit suspicious, is it not?
Wait.
So as you sit down and start watching the movie, my first go around, I never noticed this. It didn't even process in my brain because I hadn't experienced living in isolation for a year. But this time I had. Sonic, as he sits in his cave, talking to himself. You don't think your prolonged isolation is making you a bit crazy, perhaps? Sonic says that he eeks from his maw. Weird. Sonic, I think I've gone a little crazy in isolation, Sonic. Why didn't you tell me more, Sonic, of what it'd be like, Sonic? So they leave the breadcrumbs. They release the movie just before the world shuts down, and they leave something in there to laugh in all our faces about what's going to happen, that we're all going to go crazy in isolation, just like Sonic. Beautiful, isn't it? Beautiful.
See, I thought you were going to say like the Academy made COVID so that way they didn't have to nominate Sonic.
Well, no, that's just obvious. That's just fucking obvious. That's not even a fan theory. That's just fucking obvious. You know what, guys, like listeners, and I mean this for the rest of life. if 10 people tweet directly at Matthew demanding he do a live dramatic reading of Sonic, he will do it at any point in life. Even if like 60 years from now when we're getting fucking drunk doing our rewatch of Sonic, if I find out that he gets a 10th tweet, you will have to do a dramatic reading of the Sonic movie.
Let's put some rules on this because we're going to force Matt to agree with it. So there have to be conditions.
Yeah, of course.
No one can tweet at him twice, and Jake, we're not allowed to tweet at him.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't dare break this.
I'll throw in another. This is a request, a humble request.
Yes.
If this happens, if they shoot me 10 tweets, my boys, my friends, lend me your ears and lend me your voices. It's a long script, and I think I'd need some help on the way there.
Who would you cast as James Marsden? That's my question.
All will be revealed if we get the 10 tweets.
Wow.
You're gonna like host it like an actual casting call like, of all your friends.
We're gonna have auditions.
And it's gonna be the
I'm
sweetest.
I'm completely down for that. But I want you to like read all I want you to read stage directions. Oh
yeah. It's gotta be the full thing.
The script's online. You can find it. If you can't, I have people.
Yeah, I'm gonna be trusting you to help me with that one, Jake.
Jake just word for word transcribes all of Sonic and then writes the most ridiculous stage directions just to fuck with Matt.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
that's great.
But yeah, no, I stand by the fact that they knew what they were doing. Isn't it so strange that the movie was delayed? That they pitched a bad Sonic, Team Sonic making a bad Sonic. Okay, no, the virus wasn't ready yet. Okay, Sonic Team Sonic.
The amount of conspiracies in this. Imagine if this went up against Borat 2. Holy shit, man, we have a treasure trove.
And the government was like, "Hey guys, working on Sonic. The virus ain't ready yet. We need you to delay. Put out some like shitty looking version of Sonic that you made in 3 hours and be like, oh, this is what Sonic's going to look like. And then there'll be fan outcry. You'll have to redesign the whole thing. That's the plan. Okay. By the way, I was looking again at how at what original Sonic looked like.
Why do you keep doing that to yourself? Are you like, okay?
I keep thinking like, oh, it can't be that bad. Like, because the new Sonic didn't look like exceptionally good, you know? And so I
went
back. I went back to see like, oh, what did it used to look like? It truly is horrendous.
It's a fucking gremlin, dude. It looks like if you feed it after midnight, you will die.
The one that came out is leagues better than original Sonic. It's horrifying. It is an eldritch abomination.
I want to see the original cut purely for like the scenes where James Marsden so like snugly cradles Sonic and carries him around. I want to see the ghoul Sonic. I want to see ghoul Sonic being cradled by James Marsden. He just had such weird proportions and was like a tiny weird. I don't know, man. It was. I want to see what their
ghoul Tails cameo looked like at the end of the movie. Like how horrifying must that have been? Yeah. What at the beginning?
All the other like whatever I guess echidnas. I was going to say whatever race Knuckles is.
You know what would have been absolutely fucking baller of them if for the second movie they reuse a trailer and they do the old. They do the original. They just say "fuck you guys."
That would be so funny. So funny
if Dr. Robotnik creates his own Sonic OC to battle actual Sonic, and it is original movie Sonic.
What if Dr. Robotnik in the second movie creates Shadow the Hedgehog, and Shadow is just a black and red version of the original Sonic?
Man, I really think for like when's it coming out next year? I think if it comes out post April Fools, it would be an actually great joke if they released a full trailer with the bad version or like the OG version, I should say, because it's not bad, it's art.
Yeah, the original Sonic. Okay, let's not play ourselves.
It's in April 2022.
They could that'd be the best marketing shit ever. I'm saying
it'd be good. It'd be so good.
Funny. Okay, well. This is tricky because genuinely both these movies are so fun for so different reasons. And again, like I'm going back to my like comparison, how it's like both indoctrinated like in our experiences as like in this year. I think both these films really encapsulate like our experiences in this year in like a really weird way and a beautiful way.
Yeah.
Also, you know what's great? Like Sonic, you know, it's a kid's movie or it was made to be a kid's movie, right? And so you could like call it almost like a coming of age story for Sonic. And I think something like really beautiful that like another round did was kind of subvert that. Like I love it when films are coming of age stories where they're like not about kids. And you know, I love like it was about teachers, and it wasn't even just like about adults, but it was about teachers teaching kids. But it was still like I just thought this is one of my favorite coming of age stories of recent years, and I really like thought about that. And like
you talking about that has made me realize the way that the midlife crisis is just an old person coming of age story. It's just an old person coming of age story.
Yeah,
because that's what this movie is. It's a bunch of midlife crises.
Yeah.
That's such an interesting way to look at that story.
That's great, actually. It's
a really elegant point that we would have been great if we'd brought it up sooner, so we could have talked about that instead of listening to me spout conspiratorial bullshit about Sonic for 15 minutes. But here we are.
I think an important thing to note, and this is a total tangent that I think is very important to consider when voting for these movies. Thinking about how James Marsden cradles Sonic, and thinking about how Martin and Tommy cradle Tommy's dog as it pees outside, really touches my heart.
Wow.
One of my notes was also like, I hope that dog's okay. You know,
he took it with him on the boat.
Well, no, they showed the shot of like the boat, like the dog's still out there, like whining. So like it could have lived if they found the boat. I don't know.
Well, because how would they have known if they didn't find the boat, right?
Yeah.
They had to find the boat.
I'm hoping the dog lived, but it never came back. What do you guys think? This is another comparison that might help us, because I am fairly torn, honestly. But so Mads Mikkelsen versus Ben Schwartz. We're not doing him versus James Marsden because obviously that's like, you know, James Marsden's winning anyone out the water. Let's make it fair.
It's like a middle schooler versus someone who went to Juilliard. Like you don't compare those two things.
For some reason, the middle schooler wins. You know, like. How do you guys feel? Because I genuinely am impressed by both these performances, and I like both these actors quite a bit. So, thoughts?
So I think Mads gives, as Martin, gives like a very funny, a very powerful, but simultaneously very haunting performance of the reality of going through this sort of midlife crises, of trying to rediscover who you believe yourself to be and who you thought for so long you were, and what it's like to confront that.
Yeah.
By comparison, obviously Ben Schwartz is super funny, very, very talented. He plays, in Sonic, which is for all intents and purposes a children's movie, but he captures that naivete in like such a really fun, really great way. However, something I would have loved to see more of from his performance is he's such a spectacular improviser. Exactly. They should have given him a little leeway, which I get, like it's animated, so like you're a little more pigeonholed
and
there.
He's a smart, performer. He could have improvised. They could have.
I feel like it was probably the case that he didn't have a lot of room to if he had wanted to. And I would have liked to see some things that felt a little more just naturally like just the character existing in the environment sort of thing, because he's so talented at that.
Something that I want to give to Ben Schwartz is that I think he does a really good job, because obviously Sonic is a character that has so much media behind him and is like so well known,
and a lot of bad media behind it.
Yeah, like so many bad instances, like with cheesy lines and like memes, and like there's so much behind Sonic, like setting this movie up for failure. And I think he does such a good job of turning Sonic into a full character with like an arc and like really putting emotion into the character without changing, like with keeping it true to feeling who Sonic is, and part of that is to the writing as well. But I do think he did a really great job.
Yeah. The credit I want to give to Ben Schwartz is that like you were set up to fail for this movie. I mean, by all intents and purposes, you were set up to fail, and he did such a fun job. But I do agree with Matthew to the point where it's like, I don't think and even the whole movie in general, like I love this movie, but I just don't think they had enough fun,
Well, I think that's one of the things that stands out so much about Jim Carrey's performance is it's super clear that he had a blast playing Dr. Robotnik, which isn't to say I don't think Schwartz had fun playing Sonic, or James Marsden had fun pretending to be a cop.
Method acting, baby. I don't know.
Yeah, but like it's so clear that Jim Carrey had so much fun in the role, and what feels like they were like improvised, or Carrey came up with some of the lines and like how the character acted. And I just wish we could have gotten a little more of that.
So
from
I
Sonic.
really hope, and if Sonic producers and writers, or if you're listening, which we know you are, I really hope that they do.
DreamWorks writers and producers and execs were, so I'm sure.
Yeah. So
yeah.
But I think they should do the thing, if they haven't already, where like they put Ben Schwartz in a bodysuit and actually have him there, and so he can actually improvise with Jim Carrey. Imagine that shit, fucking amazing!
Honestly,
that would be
really really
fix
fun
for me to make Sonic even better the next time. Like actually have Ben Schwartz be able to improvise with Jim, who he was honestly the best part of this movie, and you have James
100%.
Marsden in it, so
yeah,
high praise. Yeah, but I just wanted a little bit more like fun with Sonic. You know, I saw the fun that Jim was having. All right, guys.
Shall we vote?
I think we're ready to vote.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I can go. I'm gonna vote for another round here, and I promise it's not because I want to get fucking drunk as shit next week. I promise that is not it. I mean, the listeners might want to see it, but. But yeah, I'm voting for another round. I think it's just such a fun movie, such a beautiful movie, and such a underrated movie that's playing with a lot of like shit that's great and subverts a lot of things.
Well, I look forward to Leonardo DiCaprio as Martin in the
I will
remake.
Assassinate the writers of
Matt, how about you?
It breaks my heart to have to do this, but I am voting for another round. But there's a piece I have to say, and it's because I know the truth, Sonic. You made me live through this pandemic. You built me up to tear me down, and you broke my heart. So I can't, in good faith, give you the vote.
You shoot me down, but I won't fall.
Fire away, Titanic.
Wow. Yeah, listen to us stumble across...
And so am I. That makes 3 of us.
What? Wait, really? Both of y'all? Wow, I'm surprised by both of you guys voting for another round. I'm actually like truly surprised. Tell me about it.
I mean, another round's a really, really good movie, guys.
True. I can't complain with that.
So insinuate whatever you want from that statement. Matt, take us away.
With that, we've got our finals of Oscar season. Palm Springs going up against another round.
That's fantastic. These were genuinely 2 of my favorite
great movies.
Films.
Yeah. I already have conversations I'm so excited to have.
Catch that episode next week.
Yeah, and guys, it's a finale, so we want your honorable mentions. I know there's a bunch of films out there that you guys like, you know, and since the Oscars already happened, you can pick films that didn't win Best Picture that you think should be highlighted, even if they were nominated. Like, we want to talk about it. Look out for some polls.
I mean, you could also pick a film that did win Best Picture and was nominated because we didn't put it in our bracket. I mean, you could say that. You
could pick Nomadland. I actually really enjoyed. I enjoyed Nomadland. But
we could, yeah, it was good.
I didn't see it.
Anyways, we do want your honorable mentions. Be on the lookout for that, and you'll be shouted out like your honorable mention on the show. So it'll be fun.
Woo! And also, if you review the show on iTunes, maybe I'll read your review on the show. If you're really funny like us, go fuck yourself, audience.
I forgot your arc for this episode, Matt. Jesus, fuck! Oh my god,
Matt was hurt.
I'm just kidding.
Matt was hurt by Sonic, and he decided to take it out.
You're projecting. You're literally projecting.
I'm okay.
Audience,
I'm really
Jake and I are so sorry. We apologize for Matt's behavior.
Please review the show, follow the show on all your favorite podcatchers, and tell your friends, tell your teachers, and tell your animal companions about us.
Follow us on socials, guys, if you want more content or want to know whenever an episode's up. We got Twitter, we got Instagram, we got Letterboxd. Follow @ToughCutPod for more good stuff.
And you get hit with sweet late night tweets like, I'm going to become the official himbo of the Tough Cut podcast. So be on the lookout for those because we're going to be hitting your timeline
That was
more
your
often.
up late who dis like this. That was your first tweet.
And hey, a couple of my stands came out of the woodwork to reply to that one. So
yeah, they
I'll
were
be on the
hiding.
lookout.
They were in hiding your stands. I'm gonna be so drunk next week. I just realized I'm gonna
don't
be fucked.
have to do it.
You do not have to get drunk, Jake.
I
You simply do not have to.
I promised, and they'll give it. That's pretty much the content that they're gonna get.